Okay, so we're doing, this is, okay, so I'm going to get started now. So if you have any questions, go ahead and just type them in the chat. All right, so this is this is Intro to Visual Arts. These are our natural history illustrations. I am choosing to do these two toads. And this is my picture plane. This outer edge is my picture plane. And then this internal box is something I'd probably want to draw as well. And then I'm going to map out, size up these toads onto my bigger paper. So how do I do that? We're not going to use grids. We're going to eyeball it. We're going to learn how to take something small and make it bigger. I would like you guys to use your HB pencil, your light pencil, because you're probably going to be doing a lot of erasing. But I'm going to actually be using my darker pencil so that you can see it on the webcam. Webcam doesn't pick up really light pencil very well, so. But you guys are using your HB or your leaded pencil, your lightest pencil. Now, if you don't know which one's your lightest, all you have to do is check, right? So this is my HB. You guys can't even see that on the webcam. This is my 6B. You see the difference between those two? There's a huge gap, right? And if you buy a set of pencils, drawing pencils, you're going to have a bunch of pencils in between these. And if you were in the classroom, I would have a whole box of pencils that you would be using. But because of distance learning, we're just using two, the lightest and the darkest. And some of you have a range, okay? So what do I do to map this out? Well, the first thing I want to do, and I could use a ruler, I could just kind of eyeball it, but I'm going to draw this outside box. And I'm going to draw it darker so you guys can see. You can be kind of sketchy about it if you don't want to commit. And then the box is lower or higher, sorry, on the bottom than it is on the top. And then I think just because of accuracy, it would be fun for me to write the names of the toads here, but I'll do that later. Okay, so I've got my box. Pretty confident that it's the right size. All right, now I'm going to do bubble shapes. Bubble shapes really are just shapes. So I'm going to look at the shape that I see in this toad. I see a circle here. So I'm going to try to kind of figure out where he goes. First thing I think I'm going to do is figure out where that rock is. I feel like that rock is going to tell me where to put that toad. And I'm not going to draw anything in detail yet. I'm just putting basic shapes down to kind of tell me where to place things. And the reason we don't do any detail yet is that we're trying to make sure that it's correct in proportion before we commit to any details. So I'm going to do a circle here for his body, and then a smaller sort of like triangular circle here for his face, and then maybe a little circle here for his thigh, and then his little hand, and then his back leg here, and then his back foot, and then his back. And those are called bubble shapes. That kind of maps out where he's going to go. Now, I might have to move that after we look at these together and we decide, oh, you know what, I think that I need to move him up. So now we can create relationships between the two, right? How much space is between the two? So if you pay attention to those things, you're going to be able to put them in the right spot. So his face is about, I don't know, like half an inch away from this frog, toad. And then it's sort of a triangular shape. And then his body is kind of fills up the foreground of the drawing here. It's bigger than this one. All right, and then he's got his little leg here and his little foot, his back leg, his foot. Okay, so now I'm really looking at the space around it. I have to decide if I did it right. I feel like there's too much space here compared to here. So what do I do about that? Did I make this too long? My paper is definitely longer than this paper. So what could I do about that? Could I make him bigger? Yeah, I think I'll make him bigger. So I want you to go in and you're going to make these decisions, and you're not going to feel upset or like sad about erasing. Okay, I want you to kind of get over that. That the first time you draw something is not always the best version of it. You have to be able to look and see and analyze and redraw. Every good artist can redraw something if they feel like it doesn't look right. Yeah, I feel like his body needed to be bigger, and that solved the problem of him being closer to the bottom here. So you have to stand back and look at it, and that's what we're going to do when we reach this end of the step. So we're going to go into breakout rooms and share with each other and critique. Okay, so I've got my two toads. This little sort of like sprig of plant here, looks like a fern, and then these little berries or flowers. I'm just kind of doing shapes. I'm not doing any shading or any detail. And then there's this little like patch of grass here. There's a flower, some leaves here, and there's some grass here that kind of comes up. And then there's the end of that little cliff, stone cliff. This cliff kind of comes in here. There's some stones here. Now, is there enough space here? Now I'm looking at this gap. I feel like there needs to be more space here. So this guy's a challenge for me. I feel like maybe he's long now. He's long enough, but maybe he's a little bit too wide. So I think I'm going to bring him in a bit on the side here. Move his leg down. This is why I don't want you guys to have to use your dark pencil, because it's a lot of erasing when you need to erase. So you're going to be using your light pencil. Okay, and then this little leg is smaller right here. So yeah, that gives me a lot more space here for my stones. There's a little tuft of grass right here. There's a little stone here. It's like a ridge right there. Okay, so those are my bubble shapes. That's kind of step one. You have to decide, you know, where things go. Okay, so step two, and you might get to this today. I think you should show me your bubble shapes before you move on to this next step, are the outside contour lines. Okay, so now I'm going to erase the stuff that's inside this bubble shape. And now I have just like this general shape. Now I'm really going to look at my toad. Contour line is the outer edge of something. So now things are really going to have to change here. Now see how I'm putting my finger where I'm drawing? I put my finger there so that my eye can return to that spot easily, and I know what I'm drawing. I'm constantly looking at what I'm drawing. My eye goes back and forth and back and forth. Now I'm going to say the word switch every time I move my eye back to my source so that you can really see how much I actually look. Do a little erasing before I do that. Okay, switch, 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 switch. Okay, you see how many times I do that? I'm constantly looking back. This way I know I'm drawing it accurately. Okay, now he's got this leg here that kind of comes up around. Frog legs, pretty cute. Toad legs. I think I like toads better than frogs because they kind of remind me of like little old men or something. Little warts and things on them. They're just cute to me. Okay, so you see how I'm drawing the outer edge of this? Got his knee, and then his little belly kind of comes up and dips right there. And then I've got his toes. So I'm doing a lot of erasing here. Okay, so one toe, this toe kind of comes out a little further. This toe goes this way. So this drawing should take you a while to do. I don't want you to speed through this. You guys are natural historians right now. You're looking for accuracy and proportion in all of these things. So if you think about it this way, natural historians and natural history illustrators started drawing at a time where there was no photography. And so the accuracy of their drawing was really, really important because it was an educational tool. If they saw this creature in the wild and they wanted to teach somebody else or a group of people what this animal really looked like, they had to be as accurate as possible. And we can see this too when we look at some of the older natural history drawings. Some of them are kind of funny, like you're like, that's not what a rhinoceros looks like. So if the artist wasn't that great at doing their drawing, then they're sort of giving the wrong impression of that animal to the general population that sees those illustrations. Now, because of technology, we know what most of the animals in the world look like, except for maybe some of those deep sea creatures in the depths of the ocean that are hard to photograph. Okay, so I've got my outer contour line of my toad here with his toes and everything. I think I need his back leg too. Stand back and look at it. It's always a good idea to hold it up and stand back. Tape it to the wall and move back and compare it to your original. You might want to print this out if you have a printer at home. Okay, so I'm not going to do the whole drawing in front of you because I want you to have time to work, but I'd like you to do this for everything in the drawing. All your animals, your backgrounds, only the outside lines. And then let's just stop for the demo at this point. I don't want to take it too far. I want to see you get to this stage before I show you the next step. All right, do I have any questions?